Tashidelek and welcome to Tibet This Week, a weekly news edition on Tibet, His Holiness the Dalai Lama and Central Tibetan Administration. Let's have a look at today's headlines. His Holiness the Dalai Lama returns to Dharamshala to a rousing reception after successful knee surgery in the United States. Sikyong and Speaker attends 25th anniversary of Pan-Tibetan Writers Abroad and award ceremony honoring Kyabje Kirti Rinpoche. Sikyong instructs Tibetan settlement officers to devise programs and projects for their respective settlements during capacity building training. Tibetan parliamentary delegation attends International Leaders Forum in the United States. Tibetan parliamentary delegation advocates Tibet in New Zealand. Office of Tibet Taipei organizes 3-day summer Tibetan culture and language tour program for Taiwan-based Tibetan children. Department of Information and International Relations is organizing Spirit of Tibet Festival celebrating culture and compassion in the heart of India's capital. On Wednesday this week, Tibetan spiritual leader His Holiness the Dalai Lama safely returned to Dharamshala to a warm welcome reception by Tibetans, devotees and well-wishers. Upon his arrival at Gagal Airport, His Holiness was received by Speaker Khenpo Sonam Tempel, Sikyong Pempat Sering, Security Kaulan Domagari and representatives from local civil society groups and local Indian community received His Holiness at the Kangra Airport. Meanwhile, hundreds thronged the streets leading up to the Tugla temple to greet His Holiness the Dalai Lama. His Holiness the Dalai Lama departed from Dharamshala on 21st June for the United States, where His Holiness underwent a successful knee treatment and spent 2 months recovering. His Holiness attended a long live prayer offering in North America on 23rd August, followed by his participation in another long live prayer ceremony in Zurich, Switzerland on 26th August. During his first public appearance post his successful knee surgery, His Holiness spoke to the audience on continue valuing kindness and warm-heartedness and compassion in this precious human life and make it meaningful. The 25th anniversary of Pan-Tibetan Writers Abroad was commemorated at the College for Higher Tibetan Studies, SARA, on 24th August. The event was attended by several prominent figures, including Sikyong Pempat Sering as chief guest and Khenpo Sonam Tempel, Speaker of Tibetan Parliament in Exile, as the guest of honor. Deputy Speaker Thomas Ringteka, along with Parliamentarian Pema Tso, Secretary Dundul Doji of the Department of Religion and Culture, Secretary Jigme Namgyel of the Department of Education, and Secretary Dawat Sering of the Tibet Policy Institute also present to mark the occasion and to honor the legacy of Kyabje Kirti Rinpoche. Speaker Khenpo Sonam Tempel and Deputy Speaker Thomas Ringteka spoke on the importance of Tibetan language preservation and honored Kyabje Kirti Rinpoche for his lifelong dedication. Sikyong Pempat Sering, in his keynote speech, emphasized on the need to increase awareness about the value of reading within schools and communities to ensure that literary works reach their audiences. While expressing his deep gratitude for Kyabje Kirti Rinpoche's lifelong commitment to Tibetan language preservation, Sikyong Pempat Sering stated, "The work of individuals like Kyabje Kirti Rinpoche is vital in maintaining Tibetan linguistic heritage, especially during these challenging times. His dedication serves as an inspiration to all of us." Furthermore, addressing the current situation in Tibet, Sikyong Pempat Sering noted the rise in restrictions and closure of monasteries and schools. He called on Tibetans and PAN members to stay vigilant in protecting Tibetan culture and language, especially as these face increasing threats in Tibet. Pan-Tibetan Writers Abroad, since becoming a member of PAN International, has participated in subsequent PAN International Congresses hosted in various countries. Their participation has been pivotal in raising awareness about the severe challenges faced by Tibetan writers under the rule of the Chinese Communist Party. On Monday this week, the Department of Home, Central Tibetan Administration and National Democratic Institute jointly organized a capacity-building training program for Tibetan settlement officers at Asia Health Resort, Dharamshala. Sikyong Bemba Sering presided over the inaugural ceremony of the training program as chief guest, along with Secretary Pandit Thuntup of Department of Home, NDI's Deputy Chief of Party, Pandit Thunzo, and a former Tibetan settlement officer, Tsering Topgil. Sikyong, in his keynote address, delineated the principal objectives of the capacity-building training that aims to employ a comprehensive approach to cultivate a cohort of proficient leaders and enhance the Central Tibetan administration's potentiality. Sikyong further encouraged the participating settlement officers and acting settlement officers to assume responsibility for their respective regions by devising programs and projects for the upcoming year that align with the administration's objectives and uphold democratic principles. More than 40 participants, including the settlement officers and the acting settlement officers, participated in this training funded by NDI. Tibetan parliamentarians Kama Gelek, Lobsang Gyatso Siddhar and Tenzin Chögyin attended the International Leaders Forum from 19 to 22nd August, organized by National Democratic Institute in Chicago, Illinois. During the forum, the parliamentarians engaged with fellow participants by sharing the current situation inside Tibet and also taking part in engaging with the speakers by asking questions while raising the issue of Tibet and how Tibet had and continues to have bipartisan support in the United States Congress, and how the foreign policy discussions during the current election cycle is something that is not only relevant for Tibet but the global audience as well. A four-member parliamentary delegation consisting of MPs Khenpo Jampe Tenzin, Tsering Doma, Chota Gyatso and Tenzin Pinso Doring, after successfully concluding the advocacy program in Australia, visited New Zealand from August 22nd to 23rd. During the delegation two-day visit to New Zealand, MP Chota Gyatso delivered a talk on Tibetan democracy in exile at Rutherford House, Victoria University of Wellington, and MP Tenzin Pinso Doring spoke on Tibet's geopolitical significance at the International Parliamentary Assembly hosted by the APSI Forum, a leading think tank in New Zealand. These events engaged several New Zealand MPs and Ambassador Joanne O from Taiwan, Honorable Renee Sharma from Fiji. The delegation was accompanied by Representative Kama Singye of the Tibet Information Office. The Office of Tibet and Tibetan Association in Taiwan collaboratively hosted a summer Tibetan language and culture tour for Taiwan-based Tibetan students from 23rd to 25th August. The participants, including students and their parents, gathered at the Kosot Sejeng Kumpeling Monastery located in the Pindung region, where the representative Kesa Gezebawa elucidated the objectives of the program that included visit to local Buddhist monastery, introduction to Tibetan map, and reading and writing of Tibetan alphabets. Coming next week on Tuesday, 3rd to 5th August, the Department of Information and International Relations of Central Tibetan Administration is organizing festivals celebrating culture and compassion, Spirit of Tibet at India International Center in New Delhi. Sikyong Bemba Sering will inaugurate and address the festival. Following that, he will be taking part in panel discussion on the theme, Relevance of Tibet to India, sharing the dais with Ambassador Dilip Sinha, Lieutenant General Vinod Bhatia, and Claude RP, an author and Tibetologist. The three-day festival will feature a lecture on Tibetan meditation by Yongey Mingyur Rinpoche, Tibetan cultural performances, film screenings, museum exhibition, lecture on Tibetan Buddhist approaches and practices by Venerable Professor Samdong Rinpoche, and discussions on Tibetan medicine, Buddhist science, exile stories, and display of traditional Tibetan art, and many more. The Tibet Festival celebrates Tibet's heritage and fosters understanding of its culture in exile. That is all the news for this week's edition of Tibet This Week. Thank you so much for watching.